Hey everyone, CKY here today. I haven't done a video in some time, but I'm going to do something different here. I'm going to do a series of short videos on Active Directory. I'm going to make them short so you don't have to watch one large video and you can target the specific area that you're looking to do. The areas I'm going to cover will be various. I'm going to look at things such as enumeration, gaining access, privilege escalation. For this first video, however, this is going to be enumeration of users in Active Directory. I'm going to use a host on Hack the Box called Sona because there's something good about this that I can relate to real life. So if we were to relate this to a real life scenario, this would assume that we do have access to the network where Active Directory resides. And what we're away to do is do an initial scan to confirm that we are in fact targeting the domain controller and try to get the domain information. Okay, so let's proceed with our Nmap scan. Now in the interest of time, I'll just leave it on the default ports. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to use my default option of -s SVC. One important note here is the V. If you do not use the V, you will not get the domain information from your Nmap scan. So please bear that in mind. So we get our results back here, and as we can see, this is in fact the domain controller as we're going to expect. Port 88 is listed there for Kerbrute. We can also see port 636 for LDAP. And the one unusual port you wouldn't normally expect to see in a domain controller is port 80. We can see here it's hosting IIS, and whilst that's not realistic, it does pertain to this challenge and it does show something about the information gathering process in real life, which would be very useful and I'm going to demonstrate. So what we'll now look to do is we'll then look to go and explore this website to see what information we can gather from this service. So we'll open up Firefox, we'll browse to the IP address in question. And what I'm going to ask is please just envisage that this is a real life site and it's part of our open source intelligence gathering, okay? So what I'm actually looking for here is like a contacts page, if you like, okay? We can see that there's some things there but with no names attached to it, but there is a team entry here down in navigation, so we'll click on the team link. Again, scroll through the website, this will be part of our intelligence gathering. And as we get to the bottom here, we can see actual employees identified for this infrastructure, okay? Now this is crucial, we would go through this process and it does give us something to target within Active Directory itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a note of these names, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look to use those names to create our own word list with which to target. Now before I do that, I'm also going to copy the domain name, which I'm likely to forget. So let's just take a note of the domain name here. I'm going to clear the screen because it does make it easier when we're doing these demonstrations that the terminal is clean. So as you can see, I've already populated these names here. I'm going to add administrator in because that's a name you would expect to find. Obviously, when you're making your own name list in real life, you may have to try different variations of surname, initial, etc. But this is what I'm going to use for targeting this Active Directory infrastructure just now. And as I said previously, what we're going to do is we're going to use a tool called Kerbrute to try and enumerate the usernames. Now if you don't have Kerbrute installed on your Kali installation, it's simple enough to do. We'll just go to the browser here and we shall do a search for GitHub Kerbrute. And it's the first option there, Ropnop Kerbrute. And if you scroll through the GitHub page, somewhere further down you will actually see the installation instructions for this. There is a link to the actual binaries, but when I used that it didn't actually work. But if you follow the instructions there for using the Go installation, that will install the tool for you. However, I've already got this installed and it's in my documents directory, so let's look to demonstrate the tool here. So I'm just going to point to the path where my binary is. The option we're going to use for Kerbrute is user enum. You can find out the other options by looking at the help file. Now our first switch we're going to use here is -d for the domain name. The second is going to be --dc for the domain controller IP address, so we'll put that in there as well. And finally, we will use our custom username list. Simply a case of then executing. And as you can see, we have quickly came back and discovered 2 accounts in this Active Directory. As I say, I do like the fact that there's a bit of intelligence gathering here. I know it's not realistic to have a website running on a DC, however, it does demonstrate that that's what you may have to do in real life to try and get some information, whether that be from a company's website or indeed LinkedIn. That's going to be the end of the first video. What I'm going to do in the following videos is demonstrate what we could do with these usernames to try and get credentials. If you found this useful, please leave a like, and I'll look to catch you in the next video. Thank you.